an hour.
That's just a compliment.
Would you eat in and out, Nick, if it was sitting there for an hour, if you had not been drinking? Let me specify.
No. Absolutely not.
I would.
Hour and a half. Hour and a half, Bink?
I've done it before around here with
Okay,
stuff.
2 hours.
Remember those burgers?
Okay, 2 hours then.
Yeah.
3. Let's just keep going until we reach your breaking point.
Yeah.
If it's been sitting there for 6 hours, would you eat it?
No.
Okay, so somewhere between 3 and 6. 3 and 6, we've determined. Okay, we got it. We've really narrowed it down. That makes me very happy to know that we've done it at least that way. Basically, the other thing about the colleges, we're getting ready to start the 3 locals. And, you know, they all have their, they are legitimately like the 3 little bears. One is just, like, it's 3 programs in very different states. Missouri appears to be on the up and coming, have the chance to have the better season, but Kansas State always outperforms. And they had a really nice first year with their head coach not that long ago, and then you go back through here. But you think that college football isn't going to be the same as it used to be just based on the NIL stuff?
Yeah, the NIL is going to be completely different and really shake up the local college. I do like the trajectory of Kansas State and Missouri. You know, I do. Kansas, we'll see with Leipold. I do like that selection as head coach. I think Neal changes the game. I was talking to Sean Barber about this yesterday because it's like Urban Meyer made those comments the other day about will he cut in vaccinated players. He said, sure. If it comes down to that, that's one of it. College coaches, the reason they don't last from pros to college, they lose that power struggle. Coaches are about the power. Urban Meyer at Ohio State can hold scholarships where you better do what he says. Like there's all, and you can't take that same power to the NFL because, as a former player once told me, treat me like a grown-ass man. That's what these guys want. But they're losing the power. And I think the fine line between college football and pro football coaches has been closer than it ever has. Because you have name image you like this now. Hell, you get this, the Ohio State quarterback's already going to bank $101.8 million, and he's a freshman, third on the depth chart at this point. Yours. Is that kombucha company deal? He signed a $1.4 million deal. Never played a snap.
Nice.
But guys are getting this contract. Bryce Young never had it. Well, he played a cup of coffee last year for Alabama, but never started a game. He's approaching $1 million according to Nick Saban, name, image, and likeness. So
Saban going to retire because he hated the pros for this exact reason.
Well, yeah, you lose your
power.
You lose your power because now guys get the transfer portal, leave whenever they want. Like coaches can't hold that over them anymore.
You just simply can't carry yourself the same way. You can't walk around like you're this authoritative figure that everybody is looking to appease.
It used to be that way. It used to be that you were the king of that area. If you were the head coach.
But if you don't,
now it doesn't matter. Your power has been stepped.
But think about Andy Reid, for instance, right? Because Andy Reid does not carry himself that way, yet you listen to the players and the way they talk about him, they have that level of respect for him. So it's almost as if you demand it from players, you're never going to get it. But if you give them the respect, and then you've obviously earned it by being a Hall of Fame coach, that's the only way you can get in the league.
Like I was wondering, like college coaches that jump to the NFL, sure it's easier because in free agency, you go out and pay the players, bring them in, you don't have to recruit them, you don't have to speak to booster clubs, you don't have to do all that.
You know, we pretend like you don't have to recruit players, but you do in the NFL.
The fine line is coming down to it where part of your sales pitch is, you don't have to come here, you're a big fish in a little pond. If you come to Manhattan, you get the local dealerships. You get other players, you have a chance to be a star. Like Jared Patterson, I'll take him for example. He's the guy that ran for over 300 yards in 2 straight games with Buffalo last year.
8 touchdowns in 1 game, I believe.
Well, yeah, he tied a record. So he would be a big fish in a little pond. Like he probably could have benefited by being at a place like Buffalo because they would have gotten behind their Division I team in that city. So now coaches are using this. Hey, of course they use this now. You come, you know Nick Saban's doing this. You come to Alabama, you have money just flowing in. Look, Nick Saban brought up the fact how much money Bryce Young's getting, which I didn't even ask.
Of course he should.
Yeah, it's a recruiting advantage.
But the thing is with Saban is he has so much clout. Like when you just have like 87,000 rings, right? Everyone's going to show you that just because they're 19 and in college. So he'll still get that. But every other college coach won't. Like Dabo Swinney, I'm still convinced to be a failure in the NFL because of that. But he better learn to figure it out in college because I already think he's starting to take the stepping stones of saying the wrong thing.
He did not like
a year ago, he said, I'll quit if they pay the players. He's already trying to dial that back in, but he's going to still treat them the same way. And one of these days, like 3 years from now, Dabo Swinney's going to be giving it to his quarterback. Like he's going to be yelling at him, and that kid's going to be worth $3 million. He's going to tell him to kiss his ass. because he's worth $3 million and he's 20 years old, and he's not going to care anymore. And these coaches are going to have to learn to adjust to that. Like, that's going to change for them, isn't it? Some of these guys just aren't going to be equipped for it. That's why I'm still convinced it's like,
But by the way, he decided it was a dealership, and I saw that too. He had that too.
both Coach K and Roy Williams retired because of this exact conversation, but on the college basketball level. Roy Williams was blatant about it. Was I the only one he was blatant, right? Like, I'm quitting because I don't like the way college basketball is.
I don't think he said that specifically. I think that was, he heavily insinuated that that was sort of the final straw.
Like, he wasn't giving any indication that he was ready to walk away, and then he's like, "We gotta pay these guys now?" Pass. Like, Roy, you live in a giant mansion with millions of it. You can Scrooge McDuck into a pool of gold coins. You're so rich. I don't think them making money.
I agree with that. I don't think that necessarily these coaches are saying, well, at least in the case of Roy Williams, I don't think he's saying, I'm quitting because players are getting paid. I think it was the idea of entering a new era and having to basically learn how to coach in this new era, and he's just like, nah.
This actually, I'll just retire. For the locals that we were talking about, all three locals, this is another reason why I think is going to be the most successful of the three coaches here. I think he gets it. I think he's already, like, posting photos in front of his Range Rover. Like, he's already doing the style thing. And you might as well just do that with your players.
No, that doesn't work. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. The
You gotta convince them they can get paid.
Dude, I saw David Beatty in Lawrence driving I don't know, it was a Lincoln Navigator and putting rims on it and putting neon lights underneath his desk and sending recruits videos of him on a hoverboard to show them how cool he was. They went down to a five-star wide receiver's house and they all posed like they were on the cover of a rap album. Like, that stuff we can act like from the outside, oh, get it, he relates. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Now, the NIL stuff is different. How hard is it? But I'm done falling for the idea if this coach is active on social media, that's going to be the difference between him being successful and relating to these recruits versus not.
In Kansas money, you mentioned with Kansas, the money they'll bring in be the difference for them not being a laughingstock anymore. If they have this many donors who are willing to shell out that amount of money,